Support Wrestle Talk!
Donate on Patreon.
The Revival, Mike and Maria Kanellis, most likely, Dean Ambrose and Hideo Itami. Like Sting, the music one, not the wrestling one, towards the end of a Tantra session, all of them are desperate for release. But for some, that release is being denied, which, as we all know, leads to one thing: dissatisfaction and grubby bedsheets from crying because you can't quit your job. You dirty minded. But why is this mix of stars asking for their release? Because there's genuinely actually quite a nice cross-section of WWE strata here, dissatisfaction operating at all of the levels. Ambrose is a main event player. The Revival, they get a lot of airtime in which they get screwed, so they're like porn stars. Mike and Maria have been AWOL for ages, and Hideo is on 205 Live a lot, so you may as well not exist. I'm El Fakador, Laurie Blake, and here are the real reasons why WWE superstars are asking for their release. Outside pressure. For 20 years, WWE has reigned supreme over all of its enemies and has unquestionably been the dream destination for any budding wrestler. They've got big money, big arenas, and the big shows. They are what dreams are made of. And since the demise of WCW in the late 90s, no one else has been able to match the grandeur of WWE. I mean, New Japan and Ring of Honor have certainly put on huge events, but there has been nothing with the week in, week out scale of WWE. But now, for the first time in 2 decades, it really feels like we could have a genuine alternative, because 2019 in wrestling started with a bang as Cody and the Young Bucks announced the creation of their brand new All Elite Wrestling promotion. Not only was this a promotion run by wrestlers who understand what a wrestler wants and needs, things like healthcare, job security, penis druids at events, but given that it has the financial backing from a multi-millionaire in Tony Khan, the money and the big shows could be there too. Now, several WWE stars have already been linked with a move to promotion, most notably the Revival, who've already been asking for their release right after finishing a match. Pair of badasses, no flips, just quits. And you got to expect that this trend is set to continue. And if everything goes to plan in the backstage talks, working for AEW could also mean having a working relationship with New Japan. Meaning not only could you have matches with the likes of Pac and Chris Jericho, but you could also square off with Kazuchika Okada and Will Ospreay. That's pretty sweet. And if you're someone like, say, I don't know, Zack Ryder, who is either jobbed out week on week or doesn't actually appear on TV for a year, surely you would be tempted to find out, I don't know, what else is out there. Everyone else seems to want to. Peer pressure. It is a wonderful thing. You can get people to do anything with it. Have a cigarette. Why not try some cocaine? Make me a tea, Andy. It's brilliant. And when it comes to wrestlers asking for their release, the other people must surely be thinking, well, if those guys have asked, maybe there's a reason. Maybe I should ask for mine too. Maybe I should get into vaping. No, that's too far. Because just in the last week, we know that both Dean Ambrose and Hideo Itami have either refused a new WWE contract or been released from an old WWE contract. So how long is it before everyone else starts doing the same? Because Dean Ambrose has had a pretty good run in WWE. He's been featured on TV a lot, and it seems like the production team have a pretty soft spot for him. He's a former WWE, United States, Intercontinental, and Tag Champion, for crying out loud. So it's not exactly like he hasn't had any success in the company. So what could be driving him loopy? Why didn't he want to re-sign? Well, he's been featured too much, it turns out. Too much without good reasons for doing it. Because when you hear the big reason for his departure is his loathing of hokey storylines, can't really help but sympathise. Because his return to the company after 8 months on the shelf injured should have been impossible to screw up. You add on to that the heat generated by turning on Seth Rollins on the same night that Roman Reigns made his leukemia announcement, and surely there's almost nothing you could do to spoil it. But here we are, a couple of months later, and he's a germaphobe Bane knockoff, possibly entering into a feud with Nia Jax.
Yes! But Nia rises.
In the case of Hideo Itami, if it's true that he simply didn't enjoy what creative was giving him because shouting, "Respect me!" isn't actually a character, then surely countless of other stars with these two-dimensional characters will jump on the bandwagon. One theory, though, for why he has been granted his release is that he's going back to Noah, who have a working relationship with WWE, which I guess at least would have given Vince some sort of peace of mind that he wasn't going to run off and join AEW. Those devils. So could that be the only way to escape WWE, by going to somebody that is already under WWE's umbrella? Because as patchy as WWE's HR seems to be, there has to come a point when even they will have to accept that some people just simply don't want to be there anymore. Because you can't just do a Neville to everyone that tries to leave, the man that human resources forgot, nor can you deny people their release and then expect them to just give their all to the company for another year or so. Like, imagine being so desperate to leave your job because you're unhappy with the hours, you don't like the people, and the fact that you were forced to wear a lucha mask and pretend to be Luke Owen, and you can't leave because you've got some unfinished business. Basically what I'm saying is, that sort of thing is gonna make you want to quit. Wrestlers like to wrestle. Crazy! I know. Hear me out. Perhaps wrestlers became wrestlers because they wanted to wrestle. And if they don't get to wrestle, they're gonna look for somewhere else that does wrestling where they get to wrestle. It's a working thesis. I'm still working on it, give me time. Because imagine being the biggest thing at your local indie promotion and you get the call saying WWE wants to sign you, and you're used to wrestling, I don't know, a few shows a week with long matches and the fans chanting your name, and you think, surely that's only going to increase if I make it to the big leagues. Oh, ye of too much faith. Because fast forward a few months or years, and yeah, you're still in WWE, sure, but you haven't wrestled for a live crowd in months because creative has nothing for you, and WWE's roster is so big that it's pretty much inevitable that a lot of people are going to be left out for long periods of time. But that doesn't make it any easier for that person being left out. And no amount of Royal Rumble entries or conga line mates are going to cheer you up when that happens, are they? No way, Jose. Are they? Sorry to use him as an example again, but Zack Ryder wrestled one match on Raw in 2018, and that match came on the New Year's Eve episode. Talk about cutting it fine. So, he had to wait over 12 months for a single match on TV. How is that even possible with the amount of, I don't know, just jobbers that WWE needs on a regular basis? So think about it from that perspective. The roster where you are is too big, and you're not getting a chance to do what you love. You're then offered an alternative with a smaller roster and somewhere you can be sure that your talents will be respected while still earning good money. Smell you later, suckers. Now, the best example of all of this here is, of course, AEW, because their roster, although it is still growing and there is stuff to be announced, will be nowhere near the same size as WWE's. And with them having a planned weekly show, there should be a lot more opportunity to be featured. Of course, there may be times where you have to sit a few weeks out, but unless you're invisible or one of the Forgotten Sons, creative should eventually remember who you are, come up with something, and stick you back in the ring. Toot sweet. Dream matches. Every wrestler will have a dream match in their head. Whether that's against The Undertaker or against Sunil Singh, which I'm assuming is Samir's dream. I am tired of being in your shadow, in Jinder's shadow, Sunil. Ugh. Unfortunately though, many dreams are not realized and these matches never actually happen. But I guess a person can have more than one dream. I don't, I always have the same dream. I'm chasing a cat. Because although some of the best wrestlers in the world are undoubtedly on WWE's books, it's a pretty universal opinion that the best in-ring wrestling takes place outside of Vince McMahon's magic little bubble. So assuming that New Japan give in and they team up with All Elite, that is a roster full of stars that even WWE can't match. And given New Japan's tendency to give their dream matches a lot of time and effort, the desire to be there is gonna start growing. Because appearing in 5-minute matches against the same 3 people week in, week out is all well and good if you're Finn Balor, but when you get a call from a promotion saying, we want you to be our top star, and one day we think you could wrestle at Wrestle Kingdom against Kenny Omega, it's a little bit better than taking on Connor from the Ascension on Main Event, isn't it? Because for most wrestlers, you've got to assume that they were fans first, and most fans grow up watching these incredible athletes having these insane matches, and there's always that little part of you that wants that to be you. Because I doubt anyone grows up watching jobbers and thinks, oh, I'd love to be a jobber. I just love bumps, me. Because the fact of the matter is, you would be hard pressed to find anyone who would honestly take being beaten up every week over the promise of matches against some of the greatest wrestlers on the planet right now. Cody Rhodes. The success of Cody Rhodes since he left the WWE has not exactly gone unnoticed, has it? He left after becoming frustrated at his role in the company, and then just a few years later, he is now the executive vice president of the biggest threat to WWE since WCW. Cody is living proof that you don't have to be in WWE to be a star in wrestling, because he made a decision to leave and he managed to make it work for him. So he can't be some mythical, magical, one-off unicorn. Who's to say that other stars can't just do the same, just pull the old Cody Rhodes. Especially now that Cody Rhodes is helping to run a promotion, he is perfectly placed to understand anyone who wants to leave WWE and join All Elite. And those people that do leave WWE and join All Elite, they're going to have a boss and a mentor that understands not only where they've come from, but why they wanted to leave. And Cody and the Young Bucks have made it very clear that their superstars are the most vital part of their promotion. And with their equal pay guarantee, female superstars must surely be very tempted to head there and prove to the world what they may not have been given the opportunity to prove elsewhere. Because while there are obviously the likes of Eve and Stardom out there, and Women of Honor and Impact's Knockouts have been getting more time, really, for female wrestlers, WWE has been the only place where you get to perform on a big stage. Male wrestlers have obviously always had lots of places to be a star, but for a lot of women, it's WWE or nothing. And really, AEW is the first big alternative for these female athletes to show what they can do, since you can't even really say WCW, because the less said about the treatment of women in 90s wrestling, the better. So to sum up, the main reason that people are asking for their releases now is that there has never been a better time to. There are more options than ever outside of WWE, and for acts of a certain stature, they might even be better offers. But even if you're one of those stars that doesn't get granted their release, there has never been a better time to air your grievances with the pants storylines or the lack of screen time, because WWE must know that it has to start taking this stuff seriously and start doing something about it, or else they're going to have more dropouts than Sunnydale High. I am burning up in your love, because this is the greatest love of all. No, not Mike and Maria Kanellis, Ollie and Luke, who had to do a punishment music video to the Kanellis' entrance theme for losing the inaugural Wrestle League to me, the greatest predictor of all. If you want to watch, point, laugh, wet yourself with sheer delight, then click the video on screen now, and why not give us a subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest wrestling news. I've been El Fakador, and that was Lucha.